Last night he was 7 feet, 500 pounds. This morning he's almost 9 feet, pushing 1,000.
Are you familiar with CRISPR?
Yeah, genetic engineering.
It's more like genetic editing. I am the only one who can cure him.
George, no! George! It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Yes, I know you're scared. I'm gonna help you. Come. Good boy.
And that was a clip from Rampage, and I'm joined by the movie's star, Naomie Harris. Naomie,
well,
how's
not
it going?
By the star.
Well,
I mean, thank you, but not really.
You're one of the two stars. Is that fair to say? Or one of the three if you count the big monkey?
I think,
no,
I think we're going to say four, though. I think it's Dwayne Johnson, Jeffrey D. Morgan, the gorilla, played by Jason Lyles.
So the gorilla
and then
is
myself.
And the gorilla is played by who?
Jason Lyles.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, and was that a sort of Andy Serkis situation?
Exactly, an Andy Serkis situation, yeah. And he did an Andy Serkis-esque performance, because I think it's really, I think it's the heart of the movie, the relationship between Dwayne's character and this gorilla. And I think you wouldn't have that kind of pathos if it wasn't for Jason's performance.
I agree. Also, it made me wonder what you were looking at when you were playing opposite George, because I'm never sure with CGI, because I don't know anything about it, whether, you are looking at a man walking around like an ape with some things stuck to his face, or whether it's like a tennis ball on a giant stick.
I thought it was going to be a tennis ball, and it wasn't. It was Jason with lots of dots on his face.
That's better,
wearing a green suit, and it's way better.
That's better than a tennis ball.
Much better, yeah. Because you have something to react off.
Yeah, you don't get a lot from a tennis ball, I find.
You don't get anything from a tennis ball.
No, it's probably nothing.
Yeah.
That's true. Now, I did a press junket for a movie once. I was in a movie once upon a time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Which one was that?
It was called Life on the Road. It was a movie of The Office, David Brent. It was a Ricky Gervais thing.
Okay.
And I found that I was saying the same thing so many times that I nearly went mad.
Right, yes.
But for the benefit of our 5 Live listeners, without losing your mind, can you set up what this movie Rampage is all about and where your character fits in?
So Rampage is a big, fun action and adventure movie with a lot of heart as well. And also an incredible amount of humour. It's way funnier than I expected it to be. It's a fantastic ride, and it has amazing special effects as well. We have the same people. It's Peter Jackson's company that did the special effects.
Okay.
And they're going on to do Avatar next, and they're really the best in the business. So the special effects are basically as cutting edge as they can possibly be. And I play Kate Caldwell. And she's a doctor, she's a geneticist, and she creates a virus that infects the gorilla that's Dwayne Johnson's character best friend.
Nicely done.
And because she feels so guilty about that, because basically this virus turns him into this mutant, aggressive giant creature, and because she feels so guilty about that, she then teams up with him and goes on a journey to find the cure and save the city of Chicago.
Expertly done.
Thank you.
And you know what I like about...
Most people don't actually ask me to set up the story, so that's
well, it's good, because it gives our listeners a chance to say, oh, okay, is this film for me? I would say it's for everyone, because you're spot on, it is a big popcorn movie.
It's a popcorn movie with absolutely everything, because, when a popcorn movie is done right, it has the humour, it has the heart,
it's got that
and
pathos.
It also has you on the edge of your seat. And very rarely do they have all of those ingredients, Very rarely do you see a popcorn movie truly work. But this one literally has everything. It definitely works. It's brilliant.
And
I'm very proud of it.
I literally bought popcorn to go and watch it, because I felt it was going to be that kind of experience.
You needed the popcorn.
Unfortunately, I watched it at Warner Brothers, and there was no eating allowed in the cinema.
No!
So I had to smell my popcorn.
Oh my gosh!
For an hour and a half. It's very frustrating.
That's really frustrating.
Yeah, I sneaked
How
a couple
can you
in.
sell a popcorn movie and not allow people to eat popcorn?
Bonkers.
Outrageous.
But this is one of the things I did like, I was drawn to about your character. Because, a lot of the time in these big sort of popcorn movie deals, there's, a lack of dimensions to certain key characters.
Yes,
and your
I agree.
character is smart and tough,
Yep.
but at the same time flawed.
Yes.
When we meet her, she's she's got this burden of guilt.
Yeah.
And that was a nice in, I found. And it gave more dimension to the character. So I was a bit more emotionally involved than I might be in another.
And also the other great thing about her is that she's not the kind of adjunct to the male, because in most of these action movies the woman is the kind of damsel in distress who's dragged along screaming throughout the journey, but Kate isn't like that. You know, Kate has just as much to offer to the journey as Dwayne's character, and they kind of need each other. They're equals and they become this amazing team.
Definitely. And it's another thing I picked up on very early, and I was really satisfied that we didn't launch straight into some will they, won't they love affair thing. It was just like, this is the problem, this is the situation. And both characters have a certain expertise to bring to that situation.
Exactly. Who has time for a love affair when the city of Chicago is being threatened?
And you were sensibly dressed, which I also appreciated.
You know what, that's a very important point, because so often, like, you're saving the world in high heels and a miniskirt or whatever. It's crazy. You want practical attire.
There you go. Now, the last time I saw you in a movie, you were playing Paula in Moonlight, which, you know, I always said if I ever met you, I have to tell you that was an unbelievable job. I mean, you did incredibly.
Thank you.
But the reason I bring it up is it's well documented that Moonlight was made for a couple of million.
Less than a couple of million.
Less than
actually.
that even. Okay. Acquiring the rights to the video game Rampage cost 33 million.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So that's before
owns those rights?
You know, that's before we even get. Yeah, I'm serious.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
that's
there you go.
Crazy.
That's before we even get into production costs. So could you tell us a little about like what it's like, the difference to do a movie like Moonlight, a tiny little thing like that, and this literal monster of a movie?
Yeah, the difference is, like, with Moonlight, it's all centered on relationships, and it's all in a room with your fellow actors, and it's all about the dynamics between you guys, and that's it. There are no special effects, there's no CGI, there are no stunts or what have you. It's just acting and relating. Whereas with Rampage, I would say that we were doing 30% of the movie, and 70% of the movie happens after our job is done.
Almost like
because it's
working in
all
animation.
happening. Yeah, exactly. It's all happening in post, which is why when I saw the movie in Los Angeles, I was totally blown away because I was like, oh my gosh, I did not know it was going to look like that, you know, because Brad, our director, he would say, like, at this point, the creatures are 10 meters high. Now they're 20, now they're 30, now they're 40, you know, and you try and imagine that, but you couldn't really. And so it wasn't until I saw it all edited together that I was like, wow, these animals are truly terrifying. And it was the first time that I've watched a movie and been surprised, because normally I know the story, I know what's going to happen.
You get a sense of your surroundings as you're shooting.
But this it was all
like a waking dream. Seeing you in it must have been such a trip.
Yeah.
And Brad Payton, actually, he's got quite a long history, a successful history in animation. And that makes sense to me watching this movie, because there's so much care and attention on those fantastical moments.
Yeah.
There's a real sense of heft that sometimes you don't get from big monster movies. They feel a bit lightweight, whereas there's moments where you're looking at George and the breeze is hitting his fur, and he felt so real, you know, and that's a special achievement.
Yeah, it is. It's
by the
really
guys in post.
Special achievement. Well, it's this Peter Jackson's company. So,
yeah, well, there you go. There's a scene where you and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson are cornered in an alleyway trying to steal this helicopter, and a fight sequence occurs. This is kind of a two-tiered question. Firstly, how much physical stuff did you get involved in the shooting? And secondly, how big are Dwayne's arms?
Let's start with Dwayne's arms.
Because in that scene in the alleyway, I saw you in close proximity to one arm.
Yes.
And I felt I could fit a Naomie Harris and a half maybe in one arm.
Yeah, I agree. They are pretty ginormous. And I have to say, my character at that moment really is in awe of Dwayne. And that was the moment, as well as me, Naomie Harris, I was like, this guy is amazing. Like, because his body is just like a machine, basically.
Did you ever do that playful pat thing where you just say, hey, Dwayne, and tap him on the arm and go, whoa?
I've done a
granite.
playful punch, in fact, and thought, oh my gosh, it's just like rock. He's so hard. It's amazing.
And yet, by all accounts, one of the loveliest men in the world. I mean, from all reports that I've had.
No, he's absolutely incredible. He really is. To give you an example of how amazing he is, lots of the scenes in the movie weren't actually in the script. So, for instance, the moment when I punch the baddie in the face, that wasn't actually in the script. That was Dwayne. And he said, look, I really think that Kate's character, she needs this moment. And then there was another moment where like I smashed down the glass door. That again was Dwayne, who was like, I think Kate should do this. Actually, I think it would be really good for her character. And like most actors, they just want to hog the limelight and keep all those special moments for themselves. But Dwayne is so generous. He's always like, okay, what can I do to help you have your moment and to stand in the spotlight?
That's
very
incredible.
Unusual for actors.
And he's got that genuine charm. He can really pull off almost anything.
He can light up a whole room as well.
And now, obviously, I eternally think of him as Maui.
Yes. Oh my gosh, he was brilliant in that.
What a performance! He's just great. I would love to meet him, but at the same time, maybe feel slightly intimidated. I mean,
Are you not meeting him?
I'm not meeting him. No.
Oh my gosh, he's just one floor away. You don't get to meet him.
Okay, I'm going to hunt him down.
Yes,
I think I know what he looks
should.
like. Listen, there's one thing I really wanted to ask before we ran out of time, which is, do you know how we're related?
No. What? What?
Okay. So a long time ago, in the adaptation of a book by Zadie Smith, you played a character called Clara.
Yep.
And the series was, I think, a 4-parter, Channel 4, called White Teeth.
I love that series, yeah.
An adaptation of the book by Zadie Smith. Zadie Smith is my sister.
No way!
Yeah. And you played Clara,
and do you know what
is
Zadie
loosely
Smith?
based on my mum.
Oh.
So, in some ways, you are my mother.
I am your mother, yeah.
Even though we're the same age.
Wow. And I went to university with Zadie.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. You came up in conversation just last week. What do you remember about White Teeth? Just this is a personal question. The listeners might be bored by now, but that's fine.
Ooh, what do I remember? Oh my gosh. I can't remember the actor's name. Was it Phil Davis?
I think so. He played Archie.
Phil Davis, yeah. Yeah, he was my husband. I'm going to go with that. Maybe I'm making that up, but
this is weird.
But he was just such a great actor and such a nice human being. And that was only my second thing that I'd done.
Yeah, that was early on,
I'd done
right?
28 Days Later before that.
I was going to say, was 28 Days Later that moment where you thought, this is it, I'm on another rung, I'm on another...
It was. I thought, oh, this is it. This is the start of my career. And then it was like silence after that. I couldn't get a job for like 8 months. I was sending out all these letters to casting directors going,
I'm still here.
Please employ me, somebody. And I just couldn't get any work. So it was actually a really sad moment in my career.
Wow.
And now I know that is just the roller coaster of this profession. Sometimes you're in, sometimes you're out, and you just got to enjoy the ride.
So what is in next for you?
Next for me is a nice long break.
Oh, really?
I work hard, and then I always like to take time out and suck up life. And that's what keeps me inspired, because ultimately what I'm trying to do is reflect life back on screen.
Sure.
And if I stay too long in this profession, then I lose that, I feel. So
I understand.
Yeah.
Well, don't take a break for too long because we love you.
Thank you. Oh, thank you.
And lovely to meet you. Take care.
Lovely to meet you too, son.
Thanks, Mum.